What's happening, beautiful people? Merry Christmas and welcome back to the channel. Coming at you guys on December 24th, 8:53 p.m. It's Christmas Eve here in Thailand. I'm about to get some cookies under the tree and do all that shit. No, actually. We're feeling in the holiday spirit today, my friends. You know, as I was saying on the stream earlier today, this is going to be my first Christmas away from the family. So it's a bit of a different vibe, and my first Christmas outside of the country. We got palm trees, we got sunshine. So my brain is totally in a weird place, feeling like, why are people talking about Christmas? To me, it doesn't even feel like Christmas, but it don't matter because there's no such thing as feeling like Christmas. This shit is whatever you make it. So I know a lot of people have a hard time during the holidays for various reasons. I know it's a confusing time for a lot of people. It can feel like there's a lot of pressure. So I just want to send you guys a quick push of positivity for the holiday season. If you're taking it hard, if it feels weird for you or out of place like it does for me at this moment, just know you're not alone. You're a bad motherfucker, and I got your back always. We're in this together. It's like we're going to war. We're running inside the trenches with a fucking baton, ready to go crazy. Super packed show tonight for the live stream. We're going to kick things off, obviously, as you could see from the title. And Merry Christmas, youth in the chat. Shout out to my brother watching all the way in the east coast of Canada. So as you can see, we're going to be kicking things off with Jordan Peterson. This is one of the updates that I missed when I took my little detour to the islands of Thailand. As you can see, that's where I was. I got a nice tan. You know what I mean? So I was out in the islands. The connection wasn't so good. But I was keeping one eye on my timeline for the last couple of weeks. I was keeping one eye on my timeline just to see what was happening, just to feel like I was still in the loop. And the one update that I saw was a Jordan Peterson health update coming here from his daughter, Michaela. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, we did a live stream about Jordan Peterson's health when the last update came out just about a month and a half ago. And it was very, very serious. Look, Michaela Peterson, she expands on it a little bit in this video, which we're about to play. But it was basically being framed like we may never hear from Dr. Peterson again. He may be going so downhill with his health that he's not going to be able to recover. That was the last update that we had about Jordan Peterson. So now we have this brand new update, and I'm just going to go ahead and let his daughter, Michaela Peterson, go ahead and break it down for us. And thank you so much for the super chat, Travis. I really appreciate that, brother. Rock and roll.
Hey guys. Brief update on my dad, because I know a lot of you have reached out and asked and have been waiting for one, as have we, obviously. I don't have a lot to say because everything's been slow. He's still very unwell, but he's not in the hospital. I'm seeing him every day for hours, which is really nice. We're working with great specialists and giving him more time to recover. I'm hopeful he will recover with time. When I posted the last video, I didn't know if he would recover at all. It was really scary, and I'm hopeful now, but it's still early on and he's still quite unwell, and we're still really not sure what's going on, whether it's an immune system issue, neurological, both. So
I hate to cut this off at this pivotal point, but I forgot to give you guys the actual context really, really quick and short. Jordan Peterson's initial health issues were speculated to be from some sort of mold exposure. So it was a mix of immune system issues and neurological issues, both which can be caused by mold exposure, which happened from him, I guess, tearing down his old house or renovating his old house. He got incredibly ill after this and has been sick ever since. I hate to cut it off there, but I had to add that context for you guys. Okay.
Quite unwell, and we're still really not sure what's going on, whether it's an immune system issue, neurological, both. So I wanted to give an update that was like, things are really bad, but they're not as bad as they were a month ago or 2 months ago. So that's the update. I wish things would just go back to normal, but they're not there yet. Thank you so much for your prayers. We need them. I'll let you guys know as soon as I can if anything changes. Hopefully he's on the road to recovery. As for me, I haven't really been online, or at least posting, because the situation is stressful and sad, and I don't really want to get on a camera and pretend everything's okay. So I've basically been offline really since last February with the pregnancy. Then Audrey, my 7-month-old now, getting incredibly sick, then dad getting sick. Audrey, on the other hand, is doing really well. Praise God for that. We still aren't sure what happened. Like, she almost died from a heart issue, even though her heart is normal. She was diagnosed with idiopathic pulmonary hypertension, and that seems to be Seems to have been a one-off freak incident that hasn't repeated. So, like I said, praise God for that. Jury's still out if there's a long-term problem that they just can't find. I'll probably be paranoid about it until she's 20. But so far, at least that's under control. The plan for content is to start the podcast up in January. I've recorded 2 episodes that I would really like to release and catch everyone up on the last year of what my family's been going through. I plan to do a pregnancy episode about all things pregnancy and postpartum when I was pregnant, but it was such a difficult pregnancy that I will get into on that episode that I couldn't record the episode. But I'll catch up on that and do a few Q&As and launch the podcast hopefully in January. That's the plan anyway. I'm not going to do another dad update until something changes more significantly with him, hopefully for the better. But as soon as he's doing better, like I said, you guys will know. The only thing I've really been able to keep up with throughout this period is Peterson Academy, which has been going incredibly well. I'll do a dedicated video on that too, because I haven't gone into details and I'm really proud of what we've built. We have 70 courses now, like 8-hour courses. There are a couple of 12-hour courses. There's one.
So she continues a little bit, but essentially she says that Jordan Peterson is somewhat doing better. That was mostly the sum of what she's saying.
Well, Lord willing. Dad's spending his time actually watching the courses now, which is very cool. And he likes them, which is a good thing. As for my content, I'm going to start posting videos, I think, like I said, in January, I hope.
So there you go. We skipped through it a little bit, but the update from Michaela Peterson about her father, Jordan Peterson. And I have to say, man, I can only imagine just how scary a situation like this really has to be when you're going through it. And I think it's very odd what's happening. A lot of mystery illnesses when it comes to the Peterson family. And again, I don't say this in a judgmental way, but it's just very odd. She says her daughter gets sick first with a mystery illness. Next thing you know, her father gets sick with a mystery illness. So this is something that's really striking this family. But I'm really glad that what they're doing is they're taking the time to actually address what matters in this life, which is the reality of your life outside of the internet. And this is something that I wish we could see more of, and I think we're going to have to start seeing more of as the internet sort of continues to dig its claws deeper and deeper into the planet, into our society, into our core, which is just going to keep doing, and it already has done to a massive degree. But as the internet keeps sinking its teeth in, sinking its claws in, and demanding more and more of our attention and time in our lives, we're going to have to see a bigger pushback against these systems. We're going to have to see a bigger pushback against the framework which is laid for us in social media. And here's exactly what I mean by that, if it sounds a little bit vague. These algorithms on social media for people who do it full time, I'm talking YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok algorithms. They only reward people who essentially are willing to trade all of their time and give it to those platforms. Essentially, if you're going to be pushed by YouTube, and I'm seeing it now. Look, you guys see the viewership on some of the streams lately since I decided to actually have a bit of a life, take a step back, maybe try to explore some things, go explore some new countries, maybe explore a relationship. I got the right to do that. But what happens is in this era with these algorithms, if you decide to try to live a life, or if somebody gets sick, or if you're doing anything with your time to dedicate it outside of feeding these algorithms so that people stay on their services, you are kicked out. Unless you're famous like the Petersons. Look, this isn't a concern for the Petersons, for them to be kicked out of the algorithm. But what I'm saying is this. For them to be full-time creators, for them to be full-time social media people and be doing it to the level which is expected, they are expected to give almost all of their time and energy to putting content on social media. And this, my friends, is something that is a growing concern for me as a full-time creator. It's something that I don't know how we're going to manage, but I think we're going to have to manage it. Because again, as these algorithms get more and more fine-tuned by AI and they get more and more sensitive, ultimately they don't care about us. They're sensitive to what they need for their platforms. And they just want good slaves. They want you to be a slave for YouTube, a slave for TikTok, and they will only reward the people who are putting in the most work for them for free. Sure, you can get paid, but you're making pennies on the dollar. It's not a complaint. My point is this: the framework rewards the people who will simply be a slave. So I like the fact that somebody who's prominent in this space, somebody whose entire family is making tons of money and social media is at the forefront of what they do, their family business, is actually taking the time to step away and say, look, I don't care about social media right now because this is what's important, my family's health. And this is my overall point. I think we need to have more people and more moments where it's just said, look, I don't care about posting right now. I don't care about, making videos right now. I have shit that I need to handle in my real life for the greater good of my well-being, for the greater good of my family, for the greater good of my health. And I think that's perfectly acceptable. But it gets harder and harder because the demand is stronger and stronger. So it's good to see, again, somebody whose entire life is funded by this algorithm, by these social media machines, just say, look, I'm going to step away. I got shit going on in my life. I respect that. So I respect that from Michaela Peterson. And again, I think the only thing that I can really think of as a hypothesis for Jordan Peterson's mystery illnesses is and I'm not a doctor, but I would say just looking at how much stress this guy has put himself through and just how fast he blew up without really expecting it. Because one moment Jordan Peterson, here's the thing with him. I don't know if Jordan Peterson really was planning to put himself in the spotlight as the big social media personality that he's become now. So this was a dude who was a professor in Canada at a university. And suddenly he starts talking, and some of it's filmed, some of it's put on social media. And nearly overnight, Jordan Peterson went from being a professor, who's not really known at all, and a doctor, a therapist, to being a world-renowned social media personality. And he didn't necessarily ask for that. This dude blew up overnight, international, at the forefront of what at the time was the red pill. I put it in quotes because I don't really see Jordan Peterson as red pill, but that's kind of what it was considered at that time. The red pill kind of thing, Ben Shapiro, all that shit at that time. And I think that as a dude who seems to feel as deeply as Jordan Peterson, a dude who is such an empath, a dude who takes on so much energy from other people and other sources and can really digest that energy and use it to help people, I think that takes a lot out of a person too. And it's hard on a person to feel so deeply. I think this is a dude who feels deeply and he thinks deeply. And he's very empathetic for people. And I think what happens is it becomes challenging. The level of fame that he reached, the microscope that he's under, I think was unhealthy for him. And that's when we saw all these mystery health problems when it comes to Jordan Peterson. So that's really what I would say. I think that this dude blew up out of nowhere. He had insane shit happen to him, being canceled by Canada, the re-education of Jordan Peterson. They tried to take all of his licenses away. And I think this is enough to just make a person sick. It really is. It's enough to make a person sick. So I don't think it's really that confusing why Jordan Peterson has these mystery illnesses. And I think it makes sense that he actually would. So let's watch a quick clip from Jordan Peterson. Just to try to end this story on a positive note, I want to watch some of the greatest hits just for a moment.
Should your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
Because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. Like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable.
You've connected a lot with a lot of young men, lots of different people, but young men particularly seem to, find something in your message. I'm a young man. I'd like to be improved, please.
Yeah.
I want to stop being a pathetic weasel.
Yeah, that would be good. Clean up your room. I don't know how you can go out and protest the structure of the entire economic system if you can't keep your room organized.
What are the limits of that idea, though? Because you can have a lovely clean room, but if for my generation, we're looking down the barrel of climate change, we can't afford a house, some people can't get work, university education's unaffordable. Like, there are these huge, massive problems in society and the political economy that are also going to, screw us over in the big picture that the clean room isn't going to necessarily fix.
If you're going to fix complicated problems, you have to learn how to fix simple problems first.
I want to know what.
Bro, why do these interviewers ask him such stupid questions, though? That's the one thing I don't understand. Every time the interviewer gets Peterson, they want to get a gotcha moment. They want a gotcha. Instead of actually having a conversation with a guy whose thought process is quite interesting. But even for me, when I hear the guy ask that question, it's pretty obvious where he's coming from. I don't think it's a mystery. It's pretty clear that he meant the small problems ripple to handling bigger problems.
Is your answer to young people for some of the really big problems facing humanity, like the climate catastrophe, like economic crisis, like the precarious job market? Because I just don't, you talk all this much about individual responsibility. Most of us are never going to be able to afford to have all of these assets to have responsibility over. So what is your advice beyond banal comments like clean your room?
It's actually rather difficult to answer a question that ends with your comments are banal politely. I would consider that more of an opinionated personal and political statement than actually a question. So why don't you try reformulating that so that there's an actual question there?
A trans woman is a real woman.
I don't really like the way those questions are formulated. I don't know what that means. What do you mean a real woman?
Well, I'm asking you, in your mind, it depends what you think a real woman is, but do you think a trans woman is a woman?
No.
Why not?
Because I think that women are capable, generally speaking, of having babies, and they have female genitalia, and they have an XX chromosome, and I think the biological markers are relevant.
Interested.
Why is this offensive, though? I don't even understand. Dude, here's the funny thing. When I look back at all the quote-unquote offensive shock influencers of 2015, 2016, and even the stuff that Trump was doing back then. You guys remember when Trump won in 2016, everybody was like, he's a monster. The things he says, he's horrible. He's a hollow man. Dude, the stuff Trump was saying in 2016 by today's standards are not even mildly offensive. What did he say? He didn't even say anything bad. This dude said some shit that was a little bit off color. Compared to the shit he's saying today, it's not even offensive. He says some illegal aliens are criminals and everybody loses their mind. Dude, no. By today's standards, that's just not even offensive. But it cracks me up to see just how worked up people got by basic statements back then. But this is why those guys started to blow up. This is why these speakers blew up, Ben Shapiro at the time, Jordan Peterson, and even Trump, because the basic comments that people felt were true. Again, if you feel like it's truth, that's subjective. The basic, matter-of-fact, common-sense approach of even saying a simple thing based in logic. People were so hungry for that at that time because they felt like they were being fed so much bullshit that if you came out and said, well, a woman has these chromosomes and a man has these chromosomes, people look at you like you're some sort of prophet back in 2016, when that's just common fucking sense. Today, I think that's just argued as common fucking sense. It's like if I tell you the sky is blue, and then people run to me like I'm some sort of messiah. But that's how easy it was back then. You had to say a simple concept and everybody would love it. So, speaking of this, you know what? Let's hop over to the next one because if we're going to be controversial, let's really be controversial. I heard a statement once that if you're going to cause trouble, don't cause little trouble. Cause big trouble and have it be a big payoff. So let's cause some big trouble tonight. Let's get in trouble tonight. Nicki Minaj popped out at the Turning Point USA's America Fest, which was the first event that Turning Point USA had, of course, since their founder, Charlie Kirk, passed away. And this event was an absolute gong show. We're going to start with this clip here from Nicki Minaj walking out with Erica Kirk as a surprise guest. Which, by the way, why did this exactly happen again? I'm really confused as to the logic behind this. But Nicki Minaj being walked out, and this whole event just looks like some sort of WWE WrestleMania showdown. I don't know if Erica Kirk is supposed to be grieving the loss of her husband, but if she is, she certainly isn't showing it. I mean, she seems quite jubilant and quite happy and actually quite equipped to be in the spotlight. I mean, look at Jordan Peterson's daughter. She has been so disturbed by her father being ill. Her father's not even dead. And she's so disturbed that she can't even get on camera. That's her own words. She said she can't get on camera and act like everything's okay. Why is Erica Kirk so happy? Why is she doing talk shows? Why is she walking out with sparklers and streamers coming up? What is this? This whole Erica Kirk shit is creepy. And again, I'm not going to go Candace Owens and say, oh, she's an agent of Israel. She's from the Mossad. She's this or that. I don't know what Erica Kirk is. I don't know who Erica Kirk is. But one thing I do know is that this is not a normal reaction from a woman who just lost her husband. Why are you walking out with sparklers and fireworks? What is going on? Why does it look like The Undertaker is walking into the arena when you're supposed to be grieving your dead husband? I don't get it. I don't understand the message this is supposed to put across. But let me calm down because I don't want to start, getting pissed. I see that she's a grifter. I can hear that. I can hear that in the chat, David. So Nicki came out, but things only got worse when the interview actually started, and Nicki Minaj made this super bizarre, incredibly awkward comment referencing an assassin straight to Erica Kirk's face. Just the worst choice of words, by the way. I mean, what? She says in the end of this clip that we're supposed to know what she meant, and Erica's like, I know what you meant. I actually don't know what Nicki meant. I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. And I don't even know what this conversation is. When I watch this conversation, let's watch it now. This is like a South Park skit. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and I don't know what they mean. Let's just take a watch.
Men. For young men.
And for young men, don't be new scum. Yes, see, dear young men, you have amazing role models like our handsome, dashing president.
Bro, she can't be serious. She's not serious. Nicki's totally trolling, dude. She's just doing this for attention.
And you have amazing role models like the assassin J.D. Vance, our vice president. And when I say that...
What? See, what does that mean, though? I don't understand what that's supposed to mean.
And you have amazing role models like the assassin J.D. Vance, our vice president. And when I say that...
The fuck?
Trust me, there's nothing new under the sun that I have not heard, so you're fine.
What is that response from Erica Kirk? She says it as if it's directed to her.
Yes, we did.
I didn't know what she meant. What does she mean?
You have to laugh about it, truly. I have been called every single thing, and you know what? God is so good, you let it roll right off your back. And this is what's so beautiful about this moment, because if the internet wants to clip it, who cares? I love this woman. She's an amazing woman. She has a soul and a heart for the Lord. And words are words, but I know her heart, and it doesn't even matter. And you say what you want to say because I know your heart. I will not judge that.
Sister. Thank you.
Bro, what are they talking about? Is there anybody watching this who understands what the fuck is being discussed right now? I am so lost and so confused when I watch a clip like this. I don't get it. Did they split a pill before this event? What happened?
For boys, be boys.
Amen.
Be boys. It's okay. Be boys. It's nothing wrong with being a boy. How about that?
Amen.
How powerful is that? How profound is that?
Not very powerful and not very profound, Miss Minaj. Not very powerful and not very profound, to be honest with you. Because Nicki's really grifting to the right wing. Her only problem is she's too late. You know, this is an act that would have worked maybe back in 2016. This is a shtick that might have taken off when Trump was running again. Now you're 3.5 years too late to the party. You're trying to grift to the right wing when those spots have already been sold. You understand me? Those seats on the bus have already been sold. Those tickets have been sold. So you're out here trying to grift and become part of the MAGA movement. It's 2026 next week. You really think that we're going to fall for this shit? This is not working anymore, dude. All these celebrities who want to become red-pilled to be cool, and now she wants to talk about trans. Bro, first of all, this woman made all of her money off of gay people, trans people. I thought she loved all that shit. I thought she was gay. Isn't Nicki Minaj gay? I mean, I don't understand this, but the whole thing is so see-through. It's just so disingenuous, but the fact that she's doing this, and people in the chat are mentioning her husband too. That's actually a good point. So her husband is a guy who's had a lot of troubles. And what are the, let me just look like exact charges on Nicki Minaj husband. It had something to do, it wasn't good. Nicki Minaj's husband, Kenneth Petty. So people are saying this is why she's getting involved, because she wants to get him pardoned. That's basically the theory of what people are saying. So Nicki Minaj's husband, Kenneth Petty, was sentenced on federal failure to register as a sex offender. He previously pleaded guilty to one count of this charge in September 2021. So the underlying offense for this, and again, people think this is why she wants to get with Trump, is the registration requirement stemmed from a 1995 New York conviction of first-degree attempted rape, for which Nicki Minaj's husband served nearly 4 years in prison. So 4 years in prison for attempted rape. Petty was required by law to register as a sex offender whenever he moved to a new state. He relocated to California in 2019 with Nicki Minaj, but failed to register and was given 3 years of probation and a $55,000 fine. In September 2023, Petty was ordered to serve an additional period of house arrest for violating the terms of his probation. So, essentially, this is the thing. Nicki Minaj's husband is a sex offender. One theory is that she's trying to get him pardoned and trying to cozy up to the Trump administration for that. But the other theory around it, which is interesting, is that, and this depends on which side of the aisle you stand on and the way you're going to view this, the other theory is that Nicki is just an enabler of sex offenders, an enabler of pedophiles, an enabler of people who victimize others in this way. Because she's completely enabling her husband, and now with all the accusations from the Epstein files, which nobody still wants to talk about, well, now she's allegedly enabling Donald Trump. But for her to come out and try to butter him up and call him handsome and throw in a jab to the trans community so she can really cozy up to those Republicans, this is such a fall from grace for a rap star. This is such a fall from grace for a pop princess, whatever Nicki's supposed to be, whatever she's supposed to be. This is a fall from grace from that. And not because it's MAGA, by the way. It's because it's disingenuous. You know, if Nicki Minaj really was a Trump supporter, and when it was time for him to campaign in 2024 rather, she was there and she just supported him, that's cool. That's totally cool. Nobody judges, I don't judge anybody who supports Trump. I can understand why people support Trump, and I can understand why people don't support Trump. It's not rocket science to me. And that's also, by the way, even if it is rocket science to me, that's your right as an American, which I think people have started to forget. You can support whoever you want. So we don't have to sit here and rationalize and explain ourselves for who we support. However, I only feel this way if the support is genuine. If the support is not genuine, then you are a grifter. You're shucking and jiving on stage at a Republican convention in tap shoes. Shucking, jiving, scraping, and bowing for the approval. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. So I don't buy it. I think it's disingenuous. I'm still talking about Epstein? Yeah, I'm talking about Epstein, bro. You sound like Trump now. Still talking about Epstein. Who cares about all those kids who got raped? Who cares about them? Stop talking about it. That sounds like North Korea. That sounds like fucking North Korea. Who cares about the kids? We should protect the billionaires. The good guys like Donald Trump, right? Is that what you're like? Come on, dude. Are you serious right now? Come on, bro. Okay, you're quoting Trump. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So then redirect my response to Trump then. Not to you, my friend. She was gay for the state. That's funny as fuck. So yeah, I think the whole Nicki Minaj shit was terrible. And by the way, this is why I think you need to have a conversation about where your business is going to go if you're not involved, even if you're young. I was thinking about how this could have happened to Turning Point USA. I was really thinking about it, like, how did Charlie Kirk's organization, which was run a certain way, with a certain level of respect and authority, how has it started to fall so far? How did this even happen? And the answer is simple. Charlie Kirk didn't expect to die. Nobody around Charlie Kirk expected him to die. So they figured he would just keep running the show, which is what should have happened. Of course, the natural story would have been as such, and that's what should have occurred. But I think it's important, like, if you have an organization, it's kind of like writing a will. If you have success to the level of a Charlie Kirk, you should write it early. That's a sad reality of this world, because people want to take you out now just for talking. So I think that, I was thinking, how the fuck did Charlie Kirk's organization turn to this? Well, they probably never had a conversation about what it was going to become. But it's crazy, dude. It's just crazy that I'm still thinking about Charlie Kirk. We're still talking about him. It's still having an impact. Yeah, Charlie Kirk said Nicki Minaj was a terrible role model. That's true. I can pull that clip up too, because I do remember that clip. This is Charlie slamming Nicki Minaj. This is so funny.
Right now, black culture is being held captive by influences, songs,
Which
and role
influences?
models. I mean, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B.
Okay, Nicki Minaj is causing dads to leave the home.
Hold on a second. I don't think that's a good role model for 18-year-old black girls. I don't think that songs that are talking about, like, glorifying wet female genitalia is exactly. I don't know which one wrote that song.
I was gonna say he thought she was Cardi B, but okay, at least he acknowledges he doesn't know. He didn't know which one wrote it.
Is exactly. I don't know which one wrote that song. Which one was it?
I think it was Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but by the way, the role models of the 1940s and 50s for Black America were completely different.
So it is a representation issue.
Hold on a second. No, not representation. It's who do you get your art from? It's what values are they putting forward? It's the question of every day, for example, more times than not, black politicians will lament the condition of America. It's systemically racist. It's terrible. What does that do to a 14-year-old black kid if you just find that you hear that everything is rigged against you? Instead, they should be saying, hey, there might be some barriers, but if you believe in yourself enough, you can achieve in this country.
Interesting perspective. Interesting. I mean, look, at the end of the day, whether you agreed with the guy or not, he went out there and he made his ideas heard, dude. That's why I respected him. I don't give a fuck if people like it or not. I respected Charlie Kirk because he did it with class as best as he could. He did it with respect for the people he was debating, and he sprinkled in some humor in there too. He had a sense of humor. He could laugh at himself. I'm going to miss these videos. I really am. And I think I talked about this a little bit on the stream that I did when he really actually died. But I remember reflecting on like these types of videos and just thinking about how important it is to have had those debates filmed at these college campuses, to have filmed these discussions in this time. Because people never recognize that they're living through history. They only recognize history when the story is told back to them. So even with like a thing like COVID, we still maybe don't realize we lived through history. 50 years from now, it's going to be historical stuff. But here's the thing. When people talk about the contentious times of politics in the past, we have very little archived footage of a lot of this, of quality. You know, like we don't have much quality material. We don't have much debates of people. We have writing and we have some news reports. It depends on what era we're talking about. My point is this: to have crystal clear 4K video of debates between the two main differing ideologies in a country at one of the most pivotal points, make or break points in the country's history, where it's either going to ascend and become a bigger empire than ever before or crash like empires of the past. The value of having these documented discussions, I think, is invaluable. I think people can't even can't even measure the value of having this footage. Whether you agree or not is completely irrelevant. It's historical documentation, because it's one thing to talk about what happened during this era and to tell our kids that people were so divided that they hated each other, that people wouldn't even sit at the table with each other if one supported Biden and one supported Trump. We can describe these things to a degree and write about it and whatever to a degree. But the generations of the future, with the stuff that we have captured, especially stuff like this, to raw and uncut show what it was like during these political times, I think that's going to be, again, the value of that is hard to quantify. So I think it was great, and I think we need more Charlie Kirks out there. That's ultimately the way I see it. So yeah, let me see. Kirk got annihilated. Which one was it? Oh, I did watch the Charlie Kirk Cambridge one. Yeah, he was out of his element in the UK one, for sure. Look, again, I'm not a Charlie Kirk defender. I like anybody who's out there shaking it up, man. I like anybody who's out there shaking it up. Let's hop over to the next story. So, I think we got some footage on social media. Let me take a look. I sent it to my boy earlier, and he actually gave me a little exclusive on this. Here we go. So Kiss was honored at the Kennedy Center Honors, obviously, as we all know. This occurred a couple of weeks ago, but finally aired just last night on CBS and Paramount Plus. They were introduced by Chris Angel, and Garth Brooks performed. Cheap Trick performed. There was a lot of special guests that attended, and other people were honored as well. But one of the top moments that I was waiting to see and really excited to see was how they would honor Ace Frehley at the Kennedy Center, given the fact that he was not there, of course, for this event. Now, I think this tribute right here was the main part of it. We're going to roll the clip now. And I think this was really, really well done. It was in good taste. I'm not going to say too much. We'll play it first. Let's take a look.
Theatrics. Now, let's take a moment to remember Ace Frehley.
I got goosebumps. Oh man, Peter.
Now here to perform a song that speaks to...
Oh, that's just heartbreaking, man.
Let's take a moment.
Peter Criss in tears looking at the Ace Frehley tribute. That's really, really heartbreaking, bro. Yeah. See, but you can tell Peter cared about that guy. Because it was the two of them. That's the thing. It was the two of them. Like, we always hear the stories. I think of all the lore that we hear about Kiss, all the lore and all the stories of they were like this or they were like that, the one thing that's true all across the board is really that it was Gene and Paul and then Peter and Ace. They were buddies, man. They were just locked in like that. And I think, you know, this is a very appropriate reaction. It must have been heavy, man. I can't even imagine that. You know, I've had memories with people for a fraction of the time that Kiss have memories together that can make me emotional. You know, there's people I knew for 5 years or 6 years that I still think of to this day, that I wonder how they're doing, if they still think about me. I think about random moments that we had together when we did something. I can't imagine building a band with some guys and just becoming the biggest thing in the world together from nothing. And going to travel the world together and doing all these things. I just can't imagine the memories and the emotions and the experiences that are felt through that. It's such a special thing. It's such a powerful thing to build something from nothing with your buddies. And to just, it's you against the world, man. You know, that's where I'm at now. But I haven't become the biggest thing in the world quite yet. So I'm still at the Kiss phase, like when they were in, you know, in New York in the 70s, early 70s before they got discovered. I'm still at the loft. I'm still at my loft practicing for my first album, but guess what? I got a couple like-minded people. And just like Uncle Joey says, Joey Diaz, it takes 2 bad motherfuckers next to you to take over the world. It takes 3 people, 3 friends to take over the world, bro. And in Kiss's case, it was 4 friends. And, you know, I know that we're far from that point, but that's the way I like to look at it. So I'm glad that they honored Ace in this way, man. Very cool to see. We have a little more footage from the Kennedy Center honors as well. Let's take a look at, let me see. I got a tip too, by the way. This is a crazy tip. Look, for all my guitar people out there, I hate to spoil it. I hate to do this. I almost hate to do this. But I got a message from a guitar expert. He's been playing guitar almost his whole life. He says, holy shit, they used a Chinese copy of Ace's guitar for that tribute. Not even kidding. Look at that. Other people have caught on to it too. It says, you can tell by the off-centered face and the knobs on the bottom. The top is right, one way is off-center. Or the top is right, one is way off-center. They used a fake guitar? Like, come on, man. But honestly, you know, I'm not even too worried about it, dude. I still think it was a touching tribute. But that is kind of corny in a way. Use a fucking real guitar, dude. Use one from Ace's collection or something. He had them all still. When I interviewed, he had them. I interviewed him on Zoom. He had stuff hanging behind him. Timmy says, I remember Kiss back in the 70s. I saw them in concert on the Midnight Special when I was a teenager. Dude, Midnight Special? See, here's the crazy thing about the internet. I grew up on Kiss on the Midnight Special, and I was born in 1998. Timmy. So you grew up on Kiss on the Midnight Special when it was on TV, but I grew up on it as well. Isn't that crazy? I think of that. That's just insane. We have some more footage before we jump into one more. We have a couple Kiss things actually tonight, so we're just going to do it real quick. All the videos disappeared, so we'll do a quick little search here. If you guys are liking the stream, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and of course, hit that like button. We have a little clip here of Marcus King singing Beth at the Kennedy Center Honors in tribute to Kiss. Let's take a listen.
Just can't find the sound. Just a few more hours and I'll be right home to you. Think I hear them calling, but Beth, what can I do? Beth, what can I
do? Yeah, Peter's moved. You can tell he's moved by that for sure, man. That's really cool to see. What a great song, too. Okay, we have another clip of them. Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks did Shout It Out Loud. Let's take a listen to that one. Whoops, no sound. Sorry, guys, I was listening to it without you. My bad. Man, it's nice to see them happy. I love seeing Gene smile. I love seeing Shannon out there cheering them on. This is great. You know, this is all good energy. This is all good vibes. Anybody who complains about anything that happened this night is just a hater. Anybody who complains about this tribute is a hater. I don't care. Kiss deserves it, and it's really great to see them getting this love, man. It's really, really cool to see. Timmy said Midnight Special was around when Wolfman Jack and Blondie and Kiss and other bands were performing on stage on that show. Yes. I don't really know Wolfman Jack. That might be a little bit removed from my era, but Blondie, of course. Generational, Kiss. Yeah, it was Paul Lynde, right? Paul Lynde was the Midnight Special, wasn't he? Hold on, am I getting it? Or was that different? Oh, yeah, Paul Lynde was different. It was the Halloween special. That was the Paul Lynde. Okay. Well, still, I still know my 70s shit. I still know my 70s stuff to a degree. Okay, guys. I think you guys are going to get a real kick out of this one. I'm not going to lie. I think you guys are going to get a real kick out of this story. So we're just going to go ahead and hop right in. Former Kiss guitarist Vinnie Vincent has officially, completely lost his mind with his new recent statements following backlash from fans about the price of his latest single. Now, Ultimate Classic Rock reported that Vinnie Vincent had recently announced a plan to sell $200... Hang on a second. Why is that disappearing? To sell his latest single CD as the... I'm fucking up. Let me do that again because we're going to cut this clip. To sell his latest CD for the price of $225 per single. That's right. Each individual song was going to be charged at $225. Now, Vinnie Vincent went and put a whole post about post about this on social media. Got me stuttering because I'm so disgusted by the price. So Vinnie claimed this release structure was designed to, quote, prevent premature pirating of his music. Unsurprisingly, not everybody was thrilled with the daunting price tag of each single, but Vinnie remained steadfast in his decision. So here's what Vinnie has to say in response to the massive backlash which has occurred due to him charging these exorbitant prices for his brand new single. So Vinnie's defense launches like this. He says, first of all, consider the analogy to caviar or fine art. Oh, brother. Not everyone can afford it. That's simple, said Vinnie. He continues, second, I resent your personal life's needs. Prices alleviate my burden's insult. Who the fuck are you to assume such a theory because you can't afford or don't want to pay or don't agree with my price? Vinnie continued to defend his pricing strategy, saying, quote, fair market price, LOL. That was last year. Welcome to the new agenda. Vinnie continued, artists can and will set their own standards and rules for the purchase price of their art when they've had their fill of being ripped off. Okay, now that's fucking rich. I'm sorry. I'm about to lose my mind after reading that one. The dude who's selling $5,000 guitars, not even sending them out, the dude who's selling music and selling files and selling box sets and tickets to shows that he never shows up to, products that never come, events that never come to fruition, he's tired of being ripped off. This guy is tired of being ripped off. I know I'm reading this pretty good without him, but I might need glasses. I don't think I'm reading this correctly. So he continues his tirade by saying, look, if you don't agree with the price, don't buy it. Isn't that easy? Vinnie goes even further. He says, quote, independent artists now have to navigate a Mad Max wasteland of survival and are the direct victims of massive ripoffs, reduced to beg and pander for likes and subscribes from self-entitled brats who want their work for free or for next to nothing. Yet these are the same whiners who have no problem paying someone $500 for a brick from a house he demolished. What? Or $1,000 for a sweaty pair of used socks. What is he talking about? I don't understand that. He says, but you bitches cry and whine like fucking babies when VV, he refers to himself in the third person, when VV sells something at a price you don't like. Grow the fuck up, he says. My price protects me from people like you who will buy cheap from the theft and bootleggers. Now, the end of this article reads that Vinnie's aggressive stance on pricing reflects his complex history with the music industry and also reflects his tumultuous relationship with the band Kiss. Now, I'll tell you guys, this is probably some of the best comedy And I know they don't make comedies like they used to, but Vinnie Vincent has actually single-handedly revived the genre of comedy. This is some of the best comedic writing. If he takes this to the stage, he's probably going to make even more money if he goes to a comedy club with this than he will off the actual music. All he needs to do, Vinny, it's simple. Go get a stool, get a mic stand, and get up there and just tell them what you told your audience, just like you told it to them in that post. Go to the comedy club at an open mic. You can get paid with maybe a free cocktail. It'll calm your nerves a little bit because you sound a little high-strung. And get up there and tell them exactly what you just told us in that post. And you will make a killing, my friend, because that is some of the funniest shit I have ever fucking read. Not only does it reek of narcissism, not only do you sound like an absolute raging egomaniac, but you also sound like a guy who is absolutely clueless as to the value in which you provide. So let me go ahead and clue you in. Vinny, outside of a handful of people, nobody is waiting for you to release music. You may feel like you have a lot of fans because Kiss is popular again and they're being honored by the Kennedy Center and all this stuff. That's for Gene, Paul, Ace, and Peter, not for you. You are not viewed in the same regard as even those guys. So think for a second, if you will, would those guys get away with releasing a $200 single? Let's say Gene did it, because Gene it's not arguable. He's bigger, he's better, he's more successful than you. So if you're fine art, if you're like Caviar or a Ferrari, well, Gene is even more. Gene's like a private jet or a yacht if you're Caviar, because you're not much. So imagine if Gene tried to do this. He would never get away with this. Okay, maybe he sold the Vault box set. That's a different story. It was a high price. He would never get away, though, with selling a single for $225. So if you're that great and better than him, you probably could have, but you're not. Because nobody else is getting away with this. And I hate to break it to you, but their buzz is bigger than yours. People are actually waiting to hear their music. Even the biggest artists of today, Sabrina Carpenter, Taylor Swift, Drake, they're not going to get away with a $225 single. So let me ask you a question. And this is a genuine question, not an insult. Who the fuck do you think you are to talk to your fans like this? Do you think you're that great? You know what? You do. I just put it together. You do think you're that great. And that, to me, my friends, is why Vinnie Vincent has single-handedly revived the genre of comedy. It's absolutely stunning to me that this guy thinks anybody is going to pay anything for this music under regular price. And this narcissism, this deluded train of thought, and this grandiose self-perception, Vinny, and I'm talking directly to you now because you might be able to learn something. If you listen, you might learn, but I don't know if you're capable of doing so. These qualities are exactly why you find yourself in the position you are in. Because if you were actually good to people, if you were actually fair to people, and if you didn't constantly rip people off, because you're not the one being ripped off, you are a rip-off scam artist. Simple and plain. If you weren't that guy, people would probably want to give you more opportunities. People would probably like you more. You probably wouldn't have to do this, dude. You don't have to do this. Let's just think about the leverage you actually have, because what people do is they shoot themselves in the foot with their perceived value. But if you were to work within the bounds of the value that you actually have, you could actually make quite a decent living fairly. If you were to work within the bounds of being the ex-guitarist of Kiss who still has some interest from somebody, I'm not going to sit here and say he has no fans. Vinny, you have fans. But let's be realistic with the assessment of the value. if you were realistic about your position, you could, and if you didn't feel like you were above showing up to things, you could make a good living doing conventions, Kiss conventions, or music horror conventions like these other guys do. Even Peter does them. You can make a great living doing that. You can make a great living doing appearances and even making music still, without ripping people off. Just if you stayed within your actual lane of where you should be right now. But the diluted self-worth, the diluted self-value that you are God's gift to music, that is what's keeping you broke. The concept that you're doing anybody a favor by putting music out is why your bills are late. So it's very simple. Get it together, bro. I don't want to give you anything now. Why should I buy a thing from a guy who's going to call me an idiot and a bitch? I'm not taking that. I don't think anybody should take that. So Vinnie Vincent has completely lost his mind, as far as I'm concerned. The guy has completely lost his mind, if he ever had a mind. And I hate to be so harsh on him, but actually I don't. I don't really mind it, because fuck this guy. The guy's a shyster. What am I supposed to do about it? He's a scam artist. So Vinny, I know you're watching this, and I know we've had our times together. I know we've had our little back and forths, but if you ever want to come on the show, do an interview with me, I will do a proper interview with you, and we will get to the bottom of some of this. It actually might be therapeutic. I have quite a way with my questions. People kind of feel like there's something off their shoulders when they leave my show. So you can come, we can chat. Maybe you can find some relief, and maybe you can actually have a realistic sense of what's happening around you after our conversation. So that's it, and that's that, guys. It's going to be Christmas in 2 hours over here in Thailand. Definitely enjoying the vibes. Took a little detour to the islands. Like I said, we're back and we're doing what we got to do. And I'm going to war this year, guys. I'm going to war this year. Nothing that I need to do. Like, there's not going to be any thinking about it. There's not going to be any overanalyzation. We're not going to sit and contemplate. This is the year of action. 2026 is the year of action. Whatever you're doing, just make sure you're getting shit done. Because the more you think about what you want to do, or you think about how great it's going to be, this is all useless information that's telling your brain it's already done. The only thing that you need to be programming yourself to do is act. The less you think and the more you act, the better things are going to be for you. The only thing you should think about is your plan of action. Don't overanalyze that plan. Don't think about it past that. Decide what you're going to do and put the rest of your thought into doing it. This self-dialogue and all this shit and overanalyzation of ourself and should I do it or should I not, or is it right or is it wrong, I guess we'll find out. I'm going to find out if my actions are right or wrong in this space, in content, in interviews, by the result of the action. I'm not going to sit here and think, should I go try to interview this guy? Would it make sense? Or would he answer me? Or would they make the time for me? Fuck that. Pick who you want, write the email, the rest will answer itself. This is the year of action. I don't want to hear anything really this year. I just want to see things. I want to see checks coming in. I want to see numbers going up. And I want to see commas in my fucking bank account, bro. We're getting rich this year. I don't give a fuck about anything else. 2026, who's with me? Let's do it together. This is the year to get rich. This is the year to get fit. This is the year to get healthy. Action, action, action. I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear anything. This is the year to act. And that's what we're going to do. Let me get this guy off my screen. I don't want to look at this guy. So that's it, man. 2026 is the year of action. Right now, start making your plan of action, your plan of attack, because I can guarantee you one thing. Right now, we're getting settled in for the holidays. But you're going to blink and it's going to be January 1st. And then you're going to blink and it's going to be March. Let's not let a second go away. Let's not let a second get past us. You know, I saw this quote from Bob Dylan the other day, and I want to go ahead and pull it up because it's one of the most impactful quotes I've probably ever read in my life. It's going to take me just a second to go ahead and find it. He said, "What can I say? There doesn't seem to be any tomorrow. Every time I wake up, no matter in what position, it's always been today." This is a quote by Bob Dylan, and this is probably one of the most impactful things I've read in the past couple of months to completely reshape my mindset, because no matter how much we talk about something, it can be weeks in advance. The only time we're going to get to act in that moment is today. There's no such thing as yesterday. There's no such thing as tomorrow. There is only such thing as today. Because when I'm talking about what we're doing in a week, the only time it's a reality is when that day becomes today, not when that day becomes next Monday. When that day is next Monday, it doesn't exist. When you get there, it's today. So fuck thinking about what you want to do next year. Fuck thinking about what you want to do on the 1st. The 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, it doesn't matter what day it is. What are we doing today? How are we going to level up today? How are we going to get rich and healthy today? It's about today. That's the 2026 attitude. I look at 2026 as one long day. 365 days put into one. Because there's only one mission. There's only one thing we need to do today. And it's to level up our lives and get freedom. Escape the matrix forever. Escape poverty forever. Escape working for a boss forever. If you're not motivated by that, I don't know what's going to motivate you in this world. I really, really don't. So, 365 days meshed into one. And I'm taking control. We're taking control. Whew. It's getting hot. I got to turn the AC on after that one. I'm getting fired up. But anyway, guys, I'll be back tomorrow. We got a lot of streams to do tomorrow. A lot of streams to do. It'll be Christmas. We'll have lots of Christmas content. A lot of good stuff. So I can't wait to drop it on you guys. Shout out everybody who was in the chat. Timmy, CS, Scrooge, Doobied. I love you guys, man. I appreciate you. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and I hope you enjoyed the stream tonight. Catch you tomorrow.